Thanks for the dark side points. I do appreciate it. Do we want to do the recap on air? We probably don't need to. We just do it now.
I'm already
Just
recording
talk?
anyway, so just whoever wants to talk can talk, including the baby.
I will wait until that baby finishes.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, I'm gonna offload, not gonna hold down my push to talk, so you can just talk, and the baby will scream at me.
Well, I'm also going to scream at you.
Well, go for it.
Okay, so you guys did the whole thing on Quinn Station. As you might remember, you ended up killing everybody apart from the apparently incorrectly named Chiss that I so lovingly put into the game for you guys. She wants to be called... Actually, what did I say she was called? Was she going by Trum? I feel like she was going by Trum.
Probably.
I mean, she's an alien. As far as we're concerned, she can change her name to whatever the hell she wants, right? At least she's still a Xeno scum.
Which is funny coming from the Conehead.
Yeah.
What can I say? Imperial indoctrination, folks.
That's right. It was the indoctrination theory the whole time.
It's like that Dave Chappelle skit where he's the blind black guy who's working with the Ku Klux Klan.
Exactly like that. Make sure that goes into the recording, by the way, Arf. Now.
Oh, it's there. It's there. You just keep rolling.
Yeah. Just gonna get it cut, probably. So you guys dealt with all of that. Tim got perhaps a little bit of closure on a period of his past, in that he killed someone from his past who he beat nearly to death. I mean, I don't think Tim really got any closure out of that, but that's up to Tim to decide.
You at least finish the job?
That's what was really hanging over Tim all these years.
I beat that kid half to death, but the other half was just waiting there.
Right, so he finished his meal, which was very good. The ship was drifting off into space. You all got on board. You blasted off again with the sirens going off behind you guys, an Imperial destroyer starting to move. Probably coincidence more than anything else, but I'm sure, without a doubt, that the incident has been reported on both the Hut side of Quinn Station and also on the Imperials. But, you know, Quinn's Quinn, so the Imperial doesn't really care what happened there as long as the station remains intact, which it has apart from having a new hole in a wall.
No, they've got lots of holes in the wall. Just most of them are covered by force fields and are there on purpose.
Glory.
Indeed. Now, Trump decided that she was probably just going to hang out with you guys if you were all right with it. She didn't really like her arrangement. She's a bit of a mercenary. I believe you guys were going to head off to some kind of a base camp in order to just recuperate and prepare for what was your, or rather what is going to be the perhaps the final strike against the voiceless diathom. And whatever it is that they're up to on this planet.
Yeah, we logged a report to send to Moth Sanharl.
Yep.
And also the second command, the Snuffy Wuffigans, the Wookiee, whatever the hell the name was.
Yep, that's pretty damn close. You could probably call him that. He wouldn't mind. He is, of course, the Wookiee Snook, who has got bleach blonde head hair.
Did you just say Snoke?
Snook.
Snoke?
But he is Snoke.
Spoiler alert. Jeez.
Just want to get that out there. Ending. Spoil the franchise for everybody.
You just gave away my ending. I'm actually Kathleen Kennedy running this game as a soft test to see whether this surprise twist would be engaging to at large.
Yeah, Snoke is a shaved Wookiee. You heard it here first, folks.
Makes sense. He looks all tall and weird, so...
And as a note for any viewers at home, or wherever you might be viewing, God gave us the freedom to spend our experience points.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you didn't do that, well, tough shit. You're not going to do it now.
Damn.
Didn't do it. Not going to do it now.
If you want to, you can. It's fine.
No, I refuse.
Just do it quietly.
Refuse.
Just quietly set all your stats to 6 yellow. I'll never notice because I don't look at your sheets. Because I trust you guys, is why.
Right, of course.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I looked at them once.
Trusting the players.
So kind of up to you guys whether you want to do anything on the base or we can just, hand wave all of that and head towards the action.
And I recall we left off, we had gotten together in the communal part of the yesterday and were making plans there about how we were going to go about striking at the voiceless diatham.
How are we going to do that?
Yeah, I guess then it was a matter of like what, based on like the people we have access to, do we know about any sort of reasonable way to strike at them?
And I'll be fair, if we're talking about striking at people, that's not exactly our specialty. We can hand that off to A-Team.
We've done just fine so far.
Just fine.
But surely there's at least something that we can do to prepare the ground and ensure that things go as smoothly as possible for us when we're dealing with them.
We do tend to specialize more in the hockey aspect, therefore perhaps crippling economics or supplies would be better.
Oh, so we should get in touch with the Trade Council. Have a debate about intergalactic tariffs.
I don't know if the Trade Council exists at this point. I think the Commerce Guilds have mostly been destroyed as part of Palpatine's rebuttal against their whole confederacy.
The Confederacy of Dunces, as he calls it in his space tweets.
Yeah, he calls them cods all the time. Some people just think he really likes fish.
Some just think he loves modern warfare.
Well, we do have an asset here in Brunated, considering the axe this Rhodian has to grind against the voiceless diatham to get like his research back.
Indeed.
I'm sure he would be more than willing to tell us what he knows about the installation that we are supposedly going to be visiting.
Yeah, you guys have actually got 2 assets if you also consider the chiss that is with you.
We got Brew and Trum.
That's totally in the theater of Jason. Chiss.
What now? Who's in my theater?
Who's
in my theater?
You
Babies.
moved the chiss.
Yeah, remember? You charmed her permanently.
Yeah.
That's
Is
how
she
it's
still with
actually
us?
in
Like,
this game.
we didn't just drop her off at some space Starbucks and say, well, see you later.
I'll come back for you later, sweet cheeks. Oh, you. That's really up to you guys. I mean, you could certainly pump her for information if you wanted to, Jason.
I get it.
We will have to role play that out, however.
I mean, I would have only had really 2 questions for her. Like, why were those guys shooting up at us? Because we never really asked that. Did we? Did we find out why those men wanted to kill us?
They worked for the voiceless diatham.
Yeah, I remember the voiceless diatham.
That seems oddly convenient.
Also,
No.
one of them had a personal hatred for me that may have contributed.
And, you guys weren't exactly super stealthy on your exit from Nashida, so they did have info by the time you guys got to Quen.
Weren't we?
No, you weren't.
Not even a little.
Oh.
You're the picture of, stealthy operations. In that we had a lot of pictures taken of our stealthy operations.
And that were just like Bayside.
Yeah, A-Side is a lot worse. They left so many dead bodies on Nashida.
We just keep like collecting people like Pokemon.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is for you guys. They don't leave a lot of people alive on their end.
Well, you never know. We never know when we're going to need one of them. It's like Someone might activate one of our trap cards. We got to make sure we have a full deck.
No doubt. No doubt at all. So if you guys want, yeah, we can certainly go over what they would have divulged as to what awaits you guys on Alderaan.
Sure, brief us.
That's probably the very first thing. I don't know if we actually announced that at all, or if the ship that those guys were using called the Spirit of Alderaan was any.
It was a bit of a hint.
It was the Pride of Alderaan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's right, in loading bay 62.
Wait a minute.
Well, I'm glad someone takes notes.
Around?
Yes, this is a few years before something terrible happens.
This is a reminder. Star Wars, the first good movie, hasn't started yet.
I don't know what's coming at all. I'm sorry.
Okay, so what did we learn about Alderaan and what we should expect there?
So what Natet would have... I mean, Natet's got more info than Trum. Trum has been there once or twice, but she's never really allowed to roam too far into the little base that they've got set up where all the research is being undertaken. Natet, however, had essentially free reign of the place since he was more or less the research head for what they were after. So he kind of gives you guys more of an idea on what he wants. He wants his research. He's going to get his research, at which point he would like to walk away from this. Really, Trum is more... as far as logistics and, if you guys were actually going to enter said base, she'd be the one to provide the info. So it is located a ways away from Alderaan. It is an installation, probably about a day trip away from the capital of Alderaan. And most of it is underground. However, she's fairly sure that such a crafty group as yourselves would be able to find another way in than foolishly storming the front doors. But maybe she's making a combat assessment about you all after. Well, she does make judgments.
Yeah, she does.
She definitely makes judgments. Silently.
So our goal as part of Project Decana was to track the voiceless diatham and do specifically what? What is our marching orders involving the voiceless diatham?
Now, with regards to that, initially it was very unclear as to what this rogue element was up to, only that it had been deemed a considerable threat, and the order is to wipe them out.
Okay.
And, destroy whatever they're doing so that it can never fall into anyone's hands.
All right, that sounds fairly specific, and given the resources at our disposal, that probably means we have to get boots on the site, as in our boots.
Well, make sure you're wearing the nice combat boots.
So you guys probably check in with Snuck as well to relay all of that. He is going to recommend that you actually drop Trum off so that he can debrief her and try to acquire more information. It's up to you whether you end up complying with that. He also indicates that the other team is considerably behind you guys and that he does not expect any assistance from them for what you guys may be about to do.
Oh, good. So there's no cavalry, aside from that horse noise you just didn't hear.
kind of heard it. Unless you guys want to wait, that's definitely an option. It kind of depends on, given the way that things went down on Quen Station, it is probably not advisable to wait very long on this.
Well, we do seem to have a bit of a timeline going now.
And do think of it like this. Obviously, there's lots of liquidation and in the Imperial forces here. And clearly, if B side, we're clearly far ahead of the A side. And if we accomplish these goals, we'll prove ourselves to be the more capable ones, and thus we'll leave this temp job and secure a more permanent position.
Damn. Opportunism.
That's our doctor.
Well,
Even Snook looks a little perturbed by the way that was phrased.
Of course, the threat might be that we're too capable.
Yeah, Snook quietly reminds himself that he is the right-hand man with a D on the end, and all will be fine with his position as handler.
I don't know. Can we actually, like, do you folks think we could actually make use out of Traum? Like I wouldn't like have her like with us on the mission. I mean, charm aside, I don't think we could like personally get anything more out of her. Probably be better to just deliver her.
Yeah.
Has she been on the base? I can't remember if you said that she had.
Yeah, she's been there once or twice.
And
I guess we could get some floor plans out of her.
do we know if they know that she's compromised?
That's a good question. You don't know.
How can we find that out, do you think? Can we try, like, using her access codes to log into their extranet or something?
You could probably use her to try and communicate with whoever her contact would have been. But they are cut off. There's no... Like, the way that they operate, it's all enclosed on site. There's
Yeah,
nowhere
they're
for
cells,
her to...
right?
Yeah, there's no way for her to log into remotely. But she could try contacting someone. Other than the 3 dead guys that she was working with.
That would involve putting quite a bit of trust in her.
Well, I'm just saying, she seems to like certain members of our crew quite a bit. And
Yes,
it's
she kinda
possible
does.
we could get some discretionary funds from up the chain to help grease a palm or two. The palms belonging to her in this case. The grease being credits.
Or at least giving the all clear message. No, everything's fine. Nothing bad happened on Quinn. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'd be more interested in her codes than in her.
She's a little bit hurt by that.
Ouch.
Look,
Well,
I
you
was
know.
just Jason's wingman. That's it.
Oh, you guys. She'll be she'll be fine if we let her call home, I bet. She wouldn't do anything to jeopardize us.
I mean, Dr. Veck's ambivalent on it. If Tim thinks it's a good idea, and she figures that Tim would be the best person who like be obsessed about security in this fashion, Veck's like, oh.
After
Well,
all,
I said she was.
we generally saved her life. So we're the best. Therefore, we get some perks. I bet.
All right. So what does everyone want to do? If we go around the table, what's everyone's opinion?
So Trauma lifts her hand. I'll be happy to give you guys the codes. I do find myself currently without employment, so those credits you were mentioning would definitely help. And I mean, I don't really know what you're all doing, but if it could be a continued employment opportunity, I'm certainly willing to listen.
So are we taking opinions on what to do specifically with her?
Yeah.
No, it's not just specifically with her, but what do we want to do about
The base?
what do we want to do about the base? Yes.
Well, Watcher's not keen on assaulting the place. That seems more like A-team stuff. So Watcher be more concerned about making sure that the second half of that order, whatever they're doing on that base, doesn't leave the base. So cutting radio communications, data transfers, sabotage, basically making it easier for A-Team to do the pew-pew.
And it's also possible, like, we don't know the exact, like, cellular structure of the voiceless diatham, but there might be information within that base that can lead us further up the voiceless diatham chain.
For sure. Or maybe they are there, for all we know.
Sure. So, like, us being on site is definitely useful to commit, as Watcher notes, the not just the sabotage, but the acquiring of information.
All right, so general preference is for preparing the ground, then.
Yes.
Yeah, we need to snip their wires and poke their eyes out.
See if we can disrupt supply chains, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully in that process, they might be like, well, shit, we need to evaluate the information. Hopefully A-Side can pick up their slack and eliminate voiceless diatham.
Yeah, those slackers. They need to spend less time in morgues and more time doing their job.
I mean, they did wipe out a Nashida cell of the voiceless diatham.
Sure, but it took them how long? Come on, guys. Hustle up.
Like, you can't just cut a head off the serpent. They'll dunk the neck and back to. Like, you have to take out the entire thing.
All right. So what can... Drum, what can you tell us about... Jesus, it's so loud here today. Drum, what can you tell us about how this base operates? Where do they get their supplies? How do they communicate? You know, where the communications are located? We want to start causing some trouble, cause some disruptions as much as we can.
So Trum's just kind of reclining on one of the little sofas at this point. Well, the communications are... I think I walked past the comms room once. They're inside, but most of it's underground. So there's probably some kind of above ground relay for, you know, the communications in and out. Not that there's much of that going on. It's really just, you know, comms chatter for the most part. I came in on one of the supply runs once, and it's normally done about once a week. So
All right.
it's an option, I guess, for you guys.
Is it usually the same ship that brings supplies?
Well, at this point, I'm not really sure how many... I'm not sure how many guys they have left the way you guys have been going. You guys really did a number on them back there, and she kind of flutters her lashes at Jason at that. But anyway, yeah, well, there's a few guys in there that, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say they're like a quartermaster or anything, but they're in charge of, you know, counting inventory, making sure they've got what they need. They don't really get out of the base much. This is kind of their, how do you put it, the head of the serpent, or was it snake? Yeah, this is probably what that is.
Well, that's all useful information to know. Sorry, there's a... Excuse me.
Oh, it's that monkey that Jason has.
Yeah, that's the monkey.
Plep, you're back.
Plep's back and loud as ever. All right, that's useful information for us. We can make use of that. So if there's a comm relay somewhere on the surface, maybe you can do I don't know, Jason, you can probably get us in there under the radar, as it were. Maybe we can do a hot drop in, maybe.
Yeah, we could get some real hot drops going if you want. I mean, we could even get like a Lalo drop going. I think that's a real thing.
Yes. As a soldier, I will say that is exactly a real thing in Star Wars.
Cool. I did it.
What are Star Wars exactly?
Wars in the stars.
Star
We're in the
Wars.
stars. We're having a war. Come on, keep up.
Weird term for it.
Star Wars. Talking about Star Wars.
Oh, that wasn't in the Smash Mouth cadence. I'm
No,
disappointed.
but it was an old Bill Murray bit from Saturday Night Live.
SNL, yeah.
It was good.
And if they should buy wars.
It was a deep cut.
I used to have an MP3 of that. Okay. So should we focus on communications first, and then, like, we're working on death by 1,000 cuts here, right?
I think, yeah, communications, if we knock out their radio, they can't call for help when we go after their other stuff.
I guess the question would end up being, like, what would be the biggest threat to us showing up? Because we should try taking that out first. Like, if they're a cell, like, we don't know whether they would call for help or how long that would take to arrive or in what form.
Mm-hmm. If they can't call for help, then that's one issue off the table to begin with.
C.
What security measures do they have on site besides the few people?
Well, just your standard locked doors for the most part. You need the codes to get in. That's really about it. They never really installed any kind of defense systems for the most part. I mean, there's a few force fields, but that was mostly to keep things from getting out than keeping things from getting in. And there's a few security droids around, but yeah, I never really noticed any, installations or anything like that.
Now, is it possible? Sorry, you were mentioning earlier, I'm rewinding a bit. You were talking about radio chatter. What kind of things do they talk about? Because it's possible, if we know the usual chatter, we could maybe start feeding them some misinformation before we hit the comms. And that'll give us a little extra time if they think it's not an attack, but rather some regular kind of malfunction. Like, can we throw an asteroid at it, maybe?
No, probably not literally, but figuratively, maybe. I mean, for the most part, I mean, again, I don't... just the way that this is all set up, I would only really talk to the guys that are, I guess, floating outside of Quen Station right now. But
all right,
it's all really self-contained. You could maybe try to spoof that, something's on the way after Quen. I wouldn't be surprised if they've already heard something, though.
All right, so just in terms of the metagame for a second. So the first thing we have to do is get there without being detected, right?
If that's how you want to do it.
Well, I mean, we have like one working gun on this ship, and for some reason the missile launcher never works. So
that's right. It just fires pudding.
Yeah, so we need to make sure that if they have some kind of ground defense or ships hanging around, they don't immediately blow us up when we arrive to start our sabotage operations. So I'm wondering, like, would we have access to something like an inflatable asteroid? And you just put the ship inside that, and it's just like a decoy shell kind of thing. And we can set our thrusters, set our vector, and then just kind of drift in, Millennium Falcon style.
So into Alderaan airspace.
Yeah. Because I don't think, like, so Alderaan is Empire controlled right now, right?
Yes, it is. Whatever kind of resistance they are involved in is very quiet. There are like Star Destroyers in orbit.
Yeah. If only there was someone to bail them out there.
I don't understand.
I don't get it.
I definitely don't understand what you're hinting at.
I was just trying to make an organic joke, but it clearly didn't work out.
Oh my
Hey guys,
Hey, it's Jimmy Smith.
it's me, Jimmy Smith.
So can we just get a giant Jimmy Smith head and put that around the ship?
You can ask for whatever you want. You just got to tell me how you're going to acquire it. And he's then going to shout like, "Show me what you've got."
I like what you got.
All right, who else has some ideas? Tem's been talking at his ass for a while now.
Well, do we really need to get into Alderaan airspace undetected itself?
That's a good question. I'm wondering if our uninvited guest codes are still good, because our cover may have been a little bit blown at Quen Station. And if so, do we have others?
The question would end up being whether news would travel to where we're going faster than we're traveling to where we're going.
Yes, which also raises the question of how long do you guys think it's been since Quen Station, and presumably you guys are in hyperspace at this point.
I figure a couple days, right? Because we had to travel to the rendezvous point to make the drop of the info, and then head for Alderaan. How far is it from Quen Station to Alderaan by hyperspace?
I think it's about a week.
All right, so we've got a few more days still in hyperspace as we're making these plans, and we may need to stop somewhere to get supplies.
All in all, then, by the time we make it to Alderaan space, it'll probably be 9 or 10 days. God.
Yeah.
I don't actually know how quick news travels, like in this universe. That's a Grimmeth problem. Like, I don't know.
They do seem to have FTL communication. These people are always talking to each other via hologram, from one end of the galaxy to the other. I mean,
it would probably depend on, because Alderaan is under Imperial control. It's probably more your ship would have been flagged as a result of what happened, or at least that identity for the ship would have been flagged as a result of what happened and your exit from the station. You probably would be brought in for questioning. It would take time, I think, for the kind of like the identification logs to get across the Star Wars galaxy over to Alderaan. Like, they probably have like a weekly update or something where they get the falling off my chair. The weekly Jesus. Yeah, I'm getting old. The weekly like update of, hey, here are the ships that have been added. Of, if they come on in, they're probably up to no good.
Can we get new ID codes from Snuck?
Yes, you can.
Let's do that, and then that way we don't have to disguise ourselves as an asteroid.
All right, so that's probably going to add a day or so.
That's okay. I think that's okay.
I mean, I was prepared to go out onto the ship and paint "I'm an asteroid" on it.
And Jimmy Smith's face.
You'd get called back in as you completed the ASS of asteroid.
There's no two S's in asteroid.
There is in Star Wars. I flip the dark side.
Okay.
We can't be entirely sure how good their network is within that space system. So if, say for example, that's a suspicious ship that gets flagged, and that's odd, we haven't heard from our team on Queen Space Station. So if we can avoid getting flagged or noticed there, so that we can make our approach, that would be great. Even if that adds an extra day, I think that would be useful.
I don't think a day is going to make a huge difference one way or another, because we're still waiting on A-Team anyway.
Yeah.
So what's going to be the new name of the ship? What's this new false ID?
Random name generator. Jimmy Smith.
You want to be called the Jimmy Schmidt? Because we'll do it.
Let's see.
I mean, it's a throwaway code anyway, right?
Certainly would be.
Let's put the word sabotage in the name somewhere. Just the totally cool, not a sabotage. Everything's just okay, Peachy Keen, the ship, part 2.
Peachy Keen. Schmitty Keen.
Nice. Schmitty Keen, I like it. I'm down.
Sure. It's either that or the actual dessert, which just came up in my random generator.
Not to be confused with the...
Like something
Fake dessert,
GLaDOS
you know.
would come up with.
Is this quinoa?
the Schmitty Keen.
All right, so that's the code the Schnuck comes back with for you guys a day later. Just do me a favor, boys. Please don't blow this one as quickly as you did the last.
I bite my tongue, but Jason thinks we've been doing a bang-up job internally.
So let's say that goes out smoothly and we get into communications and we sabotage it well. Like, what's our goal beyond that? In theory, we're going to help Brunatet recover and retrieve whatever research is being done there, which has necessitated like big game animals being delivered to the site. For what purpose? We don't actually know. Could Brew fill us in on why the hell all these animals have been delivered to the site, like a rancor, like perhaps multiple rancors? Because that's what like the entire like loading bay in Queen Space Station was for. Like they'd have a small
That's a
crew
good
with the
question,
ship come in, and they would like retrieve like some large biological like subject and deliver it presumably to this locale. For what purpose?
That's a very good question.
So Brew is nodding his head as he is inquired about that. Yes, I can't remember what voice I did for him at this point. Doesn't really matter. They all sound the same. It was the instructions from the man in charge, Gota City. He found something. I'm not entirely sure what, but he knew of my research and where I was headed, and he wanted me to help him gain control of the animals.
What do you mean control? Do you mean like in terms of training or some type of genetic?
It almost bordered on something closer to, if you believe in it, the Force, I suppose. He even had some Jedi scholar helping at one point before she left.
What a hokey religion that was.
I remember the Jedi.
Yes. Well, that scholar wasn't a Jedi. No, she was a Twi'lek.
Oh, a scholar of Jedi. Okay.
Yes, exactly. She had a ship full of artifacts.
It is, isn't it?
Who could it possibly
Yes, it
be?
definitely is. No
For those
question.
playing at home,
I don't explain.
it's the. I can never remember what her fucking name is.
Rowan?
Was it?
Maybe?
Let me just
Aldrich?
connect.
It's
Let me
okay,
just
Steve
connect to
Davis.
the other game.
You're not alone here.
It's from our
Dirty
Jedi
Jedi
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to have watched our other Star Wars game. Because over there is a particular Twi'lek archaeologist type by the name of Where the fuck is she? Got her icon right here. Where is she?
I can't remember everything you folks have done.
I never make a sheet for her. Surely I did. Anyway, we started calling her Roman Hethen near the end, which I think
That's
is
the one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
now
one.
I know what
Roman.
you're talking about.
I corrected it one of the two.
Okay.
As soon as you said Roman, I knew what was going on. Nice.
A Twilic scholar of Jedi that this Gotar Siti got in contact with to try and control and manipulate large-sized creatures using the Force.
Something along those lines. We can never quite get it to work right. I mean, we're not Jedi. Let me put that out there right now. We're not. Please don't kill me. But we were trying because they had those mind tricks. We found so many texts about them. We were seeing if we could recreate the process with technology.
Doesn't
We
seem
just,
likely. I worked with a Jedi general back in the Clone Wars, and they were able to bond with animals in some weird way. But they never used technology for it, just their brains.
Yes, we don't have I don't know what it is. The green blood cells. I don't know. It's weird stuff that I never. It's all fake anyway. I don't know. No offense, Cloud Hiker, but it's all fake.
Watcher nodding his head.
And Tem is briefly, like a strange look passes over his face for a moment, and it's like there's a struggle between several different emotions happening. And then he pauses
Science here.
and resets, and he's like, yeah, you're right. I must have. Sorry, I just gotta
This
go.
is reprogramming going off.
Excuse me a minute. I gotta. Hold on. Tem stumbles out of the room.
What's with that guy?
Vec looks over her shoulder, frowning at the leaving Tim.
Is he okay?
Yeah, he'll be fine. He just needs to work it off.
Oh, weird. Anyway,